For even more Atari fun, head over to Atari.io. It's Atari-tastic. Gorf. Oh yeah. I remember playing this game at my local department store. It was called Woolworth's. And I was there with my family doing some shopping. And a lot of times what my mom and dad would do is give me a few quarters to go play the video games that were right there next to the checkout counter. Well, Woolworth's got this new game in there called Gorf. I thought it was a pretty cool looking game. I was watching the attract screen and I saw that it had like different screens that you had to progress through, which I thought was pretty cool. So I gave the game a try, and of course I instantly fell in love with it. Of course, you know, Space Invaders, got the classic Space Invaders type gameplay at the very first level, which I really enjoyed that. A little bit of a different spin on it when you have a visible shield that can come and go as you fire. That's a little bit different strategy to play in the Space Invaders type game. Then you had the laser attack level, which was kind of reminded me of Galaxies a little bit, but you had one little ship that would shoot this laser beam out that you had to try to avoid. That was a pretty cool little level, but then of course it did have a Galaxians level. It even said Galaxians. I love Galaxian, so I really enjoyed this part of the game as well. Then you went into this warp tunnel where the enemy ships will come out of the center. Now you could see little dots up there in the center of the screen where they're going to come from. And they come out, one at a time. And what I'll try to do is try to get myself lined up to shoot the dot right when it becomes active. Sometimes I would be successful. Other times I was not. I would try to get up close to them, but that's not a good strategy because those guys shoot like crazy and it's hard to avoid those little photon beams or whatever they're shooting out of there. And then, of course, you have the final boss level, which is the flagship. And what was cool about this was, as you shot the ship, you'd see pieces of it fall off. I thought that was the coolest thing. Of course, you had to destroy enough of the ship to get to that little reactor core to make it blow up. Or if you was lucky enough, there's like a small little opening that you can get a shot into right directly to the core and blow the ship up. It's actually a pretty cool effect when the ship does finally explode. It's one of my favorite parts of the game is destroying the base ship. Pretty cool. And then, of course, once you destroy the base ship, you advance to the next level. And on the side of the arcade machine, on one side of the view screen there, you had this like space rank table. And you'd start off at Space Cadet. It would be lit up. And then every time you destroy a flagship, it would advance up to the next one, like to Space Captain, and that would light up. I thought it was kind of cool to have like a actual physical readout of what your rank was as you're playing the game. So if people are walking by or somebody's watching, they can see instantly how far you are in the game by seeing what space rank is lit up. Now the highest I've ever gotten on Gorf, as far as I can remember, is the Space Colonel. I've never gotten anywhere past that as far as I can remember. Of course, we got the Space General, the Space Warrior, and then the Space Avenger. I could only imagine how crazy this game is at these upper levels, considering how fast it gets as it progresses. Anyway, this game, when it came out for the Atari 2600, I was super stoked when I saw the advertisements for it. I first saw the advertisement in one of those electronic gaming magazines. I think it was Electronic Games, if I remember right. I think it was. But this is one of the games I picked up out of the Columbia House Video Game Club. That was one of those deals where you buy one or two games at $4.95. You have to commit to buy two or three more at regular club prices for the next year. And this is one of those games I got from that place. Really enjoyed it. Now, I did notice there was a lot of differences between it and the arcade game. Like for the Space Invaders level, we didn't have that little shield that would help protect you. Also, the Galaxians level was totally gone, and later in life I learned that this was due to licensing. It's actually too bad. It would have been cool if they would have included all 5 levels in this cartridge. Of course, the Warp Tube, that's still as challenging as ever. And then, of course, the flagship is quite a bit different. You no longer have that little shield you have to destroy first to get to the flagship. And it doesn't really chunk off. You actually have to try to hit this gap between the front and back of the ship to advance to the next level. This game was extremely hard for me back then. Well, it still is now. It's a very difficult game for me to play. I know there's people who could probably just buzz right through this crazy thing, but me, not so much. I still enjoy it, and I still like that they did it for the Atari 2600. It gave me the ability to play this on my little 2600 at home. Of course, I did tend to play the Atari 800 version more often by Rockland Software, but I would come back to the 2600 every once in a while and play Gorf on it just because I really liked it on there. So it wasn't too bad of a game. Well, let's see what came in the box. So here's the box for the Atari 2600 version of Gorf. Awesome. You know, for the longest time, I had no idea that Gorf stood for Galactic Orbiting Robotic Force. I had no clue. I didn't find out that until a few years ago. When I was a kid playing this game, I just thought the Gorf referred to that little red, chubby-looking creature that would come on the screen every once in a while. I thought that was Gorf. I know. I'm a little strange. Love the artwork. These are some really cool-looking ships on here. CBS made some really cool boxes. Whole version of the Bally Midway arcade game. Oh, yes, it is. On the back, it shows you the 4 screens that you get. Now, Gorf had 5 screens, but, you know, due to licensing issues that I found out later on, they were allowed to put Galaxians on the home cart. I would have been nice to have Galaxians on here as well to give you the full arcade experience. And what it did include was good. It's still a really fun game to play, although it's extremely hard for me to play on the Atari. I mean, I just can't get very far in this game whatsoever. Gorf! Flying Gorfs! Deadly droids! Kamikaze invaders! Laser attackers and neutronium ships are descending on planet Earth. Help! Time is running out, Space Cadet, so this will be brief. Awesome. I like this. Due to game machine limitations, this special home version may not contain all sections of the coin-operated game. Yeah, it's missing a few things. You know, besides Galaxy, it's missing the little force field for the invaders across there, you know. So it is missing some stuff. It's missing the shield in front of the flagship. You can't get the little pieces flying off, which I love in the arcade. But still, this was a fun game to play. Now you're going to notice it looks like it's sealed. It's got plastic wrap on it. I picked this up at a game store a few weeks ago. I can't remember where I picked it up at. I don't think this was an originally factory sealed thing. This might be a resale. I'm not for sure. I'm not for sure how you can actually tell if it's an original seal or if it was repackaged by a game store. But it's in really, really good shape. I mean, there's no wear in the box. It's nice and square. Pretty cool. So either way, it's time to open the box. So we just put the knife right there. Just whoop. And off comes the wrap. Alrighty. So let's see what's inside. Ugh. Of course, we have our cartridge. Oh, there it is. Nice gray cartridge. These things really stand out on the shelf. Pretty nice. And they got those really cool stacking ridges that I really like. These will lock into these little ridges right here, and these things will stay pretty rigid up on the shelf and not move around much. That's a really cool design feature for the cartridges. It was amazing to me how many different cartridge designs there were for the 2600. It seems like everybody wanted their own little take on what the cartridge case should look like. I may do a video on my favorite one sometime in the future. This is one of my favorites, the way this locking mechanism is. Very similar to how the Activision games are too. So that's a really cool cartridge design. We're just playing here. Gorf, Astrobat, Laser Tech, Space Warp, Flagship. Joystick ready? Go! Awesome. Alright, where's the instructions? Here we go. Now I love the instruction books for the CBS games. They mirror the artwork of the box usually. Nice full color. and they're laid out landscape-wise, which I really like. It's kind of cool. And basically, just goes through the game like it always does. Your interstellar space fighters. Oh, we got a message here. Message from Interstellar Space Force Command. Space Cadet. By the time you read this communique, we of the Interstellar Space Force Command will have been destroyed. The evil Gorfian Empire has launched an all-out attack. You are Earth's last hope. Your assignment is to repel the invasion and launch a counterattack. You will engage various hostile spacecraft as you journey toward a dramatic confrontation with the enemy flagship. You'll be rewarded for your success with promotions in rank and praise from a grateful planet. But you must act quickly, Space Cadet. Brief yourselves on the Golden Gorfian Robot Armada and then attack before it's too late. Message ended. I love these little stories they put in these things. They're so funny. It goes through all the different missions you got to do. Of course, Mission 1, Astral Battles, it's Space Invaders. And then Laser Attack, which is kind of like, a little bit like a Galaxian type thing, but with a critter that likes to shoot lasers at you. Space Warp, which kind of reminds me of the warp effect from Star Trek a little bit. And of course, the flagship. End of the game. Well, yeah, the game ends when all your guys are dead. Got the scoring table, pretty cool. And then the field promotion schedule. Let's see what we got here. Missions completed 1 to 3 Space Cadet. Oh my gosh. I never paid past Space Cadet, evidently. 4 to 7 Space Captain. 8 to 11 Space Colonel. 12 to 15 Space General. 16 to 19 Space Warrior. 20 to up Space Avenger. Holy crap. I'd like to see someone get above level 20, man. See what this game looks like. It's probably really moving. Got a little warranty thing there. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Pretty awesome. Still, what a great game. I love Gorf on my 2600, and I really love it in arcade. What are some of your thoughts on the Gorf video game in the arcade? And also, what do you think of the port on the 2600? Comment down below. It'll be interesting to hear what you have to say about it. And as always, thanks for watching.